End broadcast. Okay. Oh. Hey, Steve 87P Sap, how are you, buddy? Hey there. And it takes me a second to get this StreamYard thing going. I'm still not quite used to hitting that start broadcast. And then I sit here and I stare at it for a minute. And then it, in the top right corner, it says, "Are you going to start?" It's like, oh man, I got to hit it again. So finally got her started up. And it's a little different for me because I can't see anything on YouTube. But we got Barnabas Junction popping in, saying, shouldn't you be saying good morning, model railroaders? It's midnight over there, isn't it, Barnabas? And Heath from Humanity City, how are you? And Dominic Trains SD45. And Dwight Curley popping in, how are you? Chazco, hey, buddy. And we got no module cam for you over here, Chazco. We do have a couple extra other cams. I don't know what they do, though. Oh, that's there soon. That's my Patreon thing. So don't forget, check that out, guys, if you like what you see. And we got couple more last week. There we are. We got 20 Patreons. So we're going to start getting into some really good contests here, guys, real soon. And just got to call up OVR Trains and get something set up with him. But speaking of contests, we get over 100 people in the chat tonight. The special guest of TSG Multimedia and myself will stop and hold a contest. And it's for an N-scale church worth $104. And for you HO guys, it'll be a gift certificate for OVR Trains at $100. So let's hope we get over 100 people in here. Sitting at 28 right now, so that's kind of cool. And Grants, how are you, buddy? Grant Seller. Randall Elson. Trainiac, how are you, bud? Haven't seen you for a bit. Nancy in the spirit of Colorado. Railroad N-scaler. Nice to see you popping in, my dear. Then we got Marty M. And I just... N-scale Union Pacific Evanston Subdivision. How are you? All the way from Panama, my friend. OVR, OVR, OVR. Well, we got to get 100, 100, 100. So... Kelly's Rail Fan, nice to see you. The Carver, how are you, Paul? I hope you're feeling okay, bud. Chris Mitchell, nice to see you. And Kelly's Rail Fan. PDRR Engineer, how are you doing, Art? Yeah, I should probably shut this thing off. 7 p.m. Yes, Roy Hardwick, I am started already. You just got to go find, I guess my phone can't hear what I'm saying. So, and there is Ralph Greenwood, how are you, bud? OVR Trains website, there it is, guys. Check them out. I guarantee they have the cheapest prices in my area. And if they're in my area and they're the cheapest, and I'm Canadian, well, they should be pretty cheap for you guys too. So, but Mr. Ralph Greenwood, if you could help me out tonight with some links, we got TSG Multimedia. I'm hoping he shows up soon anyway. And he's also got a Patreon link, so I wouldn't mind helping him out, posting that link for him every once in a while. So, Shane's Trains, how are you? And John number 2, Schuylkill River Valley. Shane's Trains saying hi. SC Railroad Videography. Very cool name, man. That's awesome. Hey, there's James Galton. How are you? And James, you and I got to talk about my Helix sometime. And there is Stu Structures. Evening, wonderful people. Get a Mark. Marty M. Hey, John Schuylkill. CDP 1965. How are you doing, Chuck? And there is me buddy, Norman Rowe. I am honored to be a wrench. You're a wrench? I can't tell. That's the only problem with StreamYard. I can't tell who's got wrenches and who doesn't. All I can see is the chat. But I guess the good part about it is I can click on somebody's name and what they say comes up. So where'd that go, Norman? There it is. There it is. I'm honored to be a wrench. Bud, you've been around for so long. Got to give you one by now. Maybe you can help me fix things. So, but guys, Vinny and I have been doing this little mini series, I guess. I've done one. He's done one. And it's Meet the Live Streamers. Now, by the shirt I'm wearing, I'm pretty sure you guys can think, stop yelling. Okay. Sit back a bit. What was I saying then, Vinny, before you told me to stop yelling? But yeah, we've been doing this little live series thing of Meet the Live Streamers. Last week we just kind of got it going, and wow, did mine screw up really bad. Mic didn't want to work. So another friend of mine helped me out, John from TSG Multimedia, and he actually did the interview with Vinny while I sat in the background pulling my hair out for the first half of it. So, but without further ado, the special guest. There he is right there. Mr. John, how are you doing?
Hey, this is cool. This is cool because, Dave, I can say hello to everyone in the chat right now. Hello, everyone in the chat, because usually I come in on the chat and I'm like, hello. And then people say hi, about 8 or 10 people, and I can't sit there and type back hi to everybody. So I just did it all at once.
Yeah, the chat normally goes pretty quick. And of course, you might have to take over this live show again.
Uh-oh. Am I going to interview myself?
Yeah. Well, I got this gray squirrel, and it must know that I don't like squirrels. And I've got a fence right outside this window, and it likes to walk back and forth. And then when it sees me move, it stops and stares at me. So then I got to jump at the window to scare it off type thing. So
it's probably wondering what the hell's inside that little hut.
It ain't no little hut. So yeah, Ralph Greenwood, if you could post up John's links for TSG Multimedia. If anybody doesn't know who this is, his name's John. He's got an awesome YouTube channel. And I before we kind of get into the live streaming part, John, I got to ask where TSG Multimedia came from.
Well, I was born in 1968. What do you mean by that? With the name of it, or
yeah,
how I got started, or what?
Well, how did you come up with the name TSG Multimedia to start with? And the second part of that question is, was it always about trains?
It's true. It wasn't. The first part of the question is, we've always had some kind of a family business, and my dad came up with the name TSG. And so when I started my video business, I thought, oh, I'll just use that. So I made it TSG Multimedia. And it was actually started in 1988. I'm sorry, 1998. I gave myself 10 extra years of experience there. 1998. And I started out basically servicing the high-tech industry here where I live in San Jose, California, which is also known as the capital of Silicon Valley. Sounds really exciting, doesn't it? And so what happened was, after a few years, so in the early 2000s, the business that I had going kind of dried up because there was, like, the dot-com industries weren't as robust as they were when I got started. So that business dried up, and I started looking for other stuff to do. And one time I was here at an annual party we would have at my house, and this guy that used to be on the channel, Dan, who was my friend at the time, suggested to do a train video. So quickly decided to do a train video about Caltrain, which is our local commute service here where I live. And the reason we decided on Caltrain was because it's local, number one. Number two, it runs on a schedule. If you want to try to film freight trains, it's impossible because they don't run on schedules, not like commute trains do, you know. Yeah. So that's how I got started with train videos in 2005. It was Caltrain 2005. That's the name of the first video I did. And it just grew from there. And I did a grand total of about 30 or 35 full-length pro DVDs that varied from prototype railroading, like Caltrain, and ACE, which is another commute service that runs here in my area, and, Roaring Camp, which you saw when you were here, and, Niles Canyon. We did 4 videos up at Niles Canyon, 4 at Roaring Camp, a bunch of videos that were called A Day At, which I refer to as the Day At series, because it was basically, you remember when you were here and we went out to that place in Sacramento, Johnston, and we just kind of sat there and waited for stuff to go through?
Yeah.
A Day At is like that. So you go somewhere, you sit there, but we would sit all day and film everything that came through. So by the time the day was over, you had probably anywhere from between 12 and 20 run-bys of trains. So
Well, the day you and I did that, we probably only sat there for what, 4 or 5 hours, because we did the museum that morning, I believe.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
were
we
there
had
for-
6 or 7 trains. So
yeah, so that would have actually been a great place to do a day at video.
Yeah.
And although, now it's not quite as busy with the, what are you calling it? The showstopper?
Yeah.
Am I not allowed to say what it is?
Well, I don't know. YouTube was going through a little phase when it first started. If anybody actually mentioned what the real name of it was or something, and even people in the chat. And it was Tom's Trains and Things, and then Nate from Tayaganda Valley and Coal Company. They both had their live streams actually stopped in the midstream.
Oh, because they were talking to,
Yeah, people in the chat were actually talking about it. And
Okay.
then it came up with an error. So
I'll try not to say anything about that then.
yeah,
I'll call it the virus. How about that?
well, I nicknamed it the Showstopper just because for me, I knew it was going to stop Strasbourg.
Yeah.
So
Well, anyway, back to the story, if I may. So around 2013 or so, another friend of mine had a channel that went viral, and it made me realize that YouTube could be a legitimate source of income. So I focused a little bit more on YouTube starting around then. And then that whole time between 2005 and 2015, I was working a very full-time job that was more than full-time. I mean, it was like anywhere from 50 to 60 hours a week. But in 2015, I quit that job and sort of rededicated myself more fully to YouTube. And so whereas the quality of the programs between 2007, when I first started showing up on YouTube at all, and in 2013 or 2014, quality wasn't really that great. I mean, I still knew what I was doing, and I still could have made very high quality content, but my attitude at the time, before I realized that YouTube could be a legitimate source of income,
right.
My attitude was, it's free. So, people get what they get. And if they don't like it, they don't have to watch. If they want to see the good stuff, they can buy a DVD. That was my attitude at the time.
And you did use YouTube to kind of advertise quite a bit of your DVDs at the time, didn't you?
I did. As a matter of fact, all of the trailers for all of the DVDs are still linked back to the original time that I uploaded the trailers to YouTube for that purpose on my website. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, it looks like Brent wants to see the top secret associate producer.
I'm hoping that's who he means.
I am too. So anyway, in 2015, I stopped working at that job, and like I said, really committed myself to YouTube and producing it as high of quality content as possible on YouTube. And I think it's worked out pretty well. In the past 2.5 or so, 2 years, the level of subscribership on the channel went from 15,000 up to, I think it's up to 36 something, 37,000, something like that. So
maybe somebody in the chat can let us know what you're up to.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first started watching your channel, I think we had 3,000-4,000. So
yeah, that sounds about right. I remember I'd see
so your channel really blew. Yeah, your channel really bloomed over the last couple of years. So
yeah, I like to think that it happened because there's a much better variety of topics and people on it. So
now, getting into interviewing live streamers. When did you first start getting into live streams? Because you didn't always do them.
Yeah, I think about 2 years ago, or I mean, I'd have to look on the channel. I don't remember the very, very first one. But I think it was about 2 years ago, the first time I tried doing that. And it was addictive because you have instant feedback from all the chatters in the window. So I think about 2 or 3 years ago, somewhere in that range.
We did the one together.
Mm-hmm.
Were you
That
doing
was
live
last year.
streams before that?
Oh yeah, I did some before that too. Not a lot. I mean, here, why don't I just look real quick? Because I'm kind of curious for myself.
Yeah, there you go. I know for me, I looked during the week. I think my first live stream was literally almost 3 years ago. It started in December.
Nice.
Yeah. So coming up this December, it'll be 3 years for mine.
Yeah. My first live stream was 2 years ago. It was in August 19th of 2018. And it was about 43 minutes and 13 seconds.
Do you remember much of it?
No, I don't remember anything. The only thing I can't say I don't remember anything. I do remember something. I remember liking doing it. So, after that, so I actually did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The one that we did together last year was the 9th time I went live.
So 9 times in a year you went live.
Something like that, yeah.
And now you're almost doing it monthly, weekly?
It's about once a month. Sometimes if I have something I think is important enough to share with people, I'll just come on without any, pomp and circumstance. And usually, I mean, it's weird. It's like yours. If I come on totally unannounced in the middle of the day, I'll within about 5 minutes, there's like 40 or 60 people watching.
Yeah.
And it's kind of flattering that people care enough to know what you're doing to tune in like that.
Mm-hmm. So with your live streams that you're doing now, don't you have a little bit of a series going?
Yeah, there's actually, it kind of changed. What I originally was doing starting about a year ago was, well, I mean, I can't say originally. What I'll say is the live show that I created as a regular series started, I think, in September of last year. It was either August or September, and it was called the TSG Live Crew Lounge. And the Crew Lounge is basically, it's a panel discussion. So one of the really great things about where I live is that there are a lot of people who know a lot of stuff, whether it be about modeling or real railroads. Just there's a lot, and everyone's really nice and friendly and helpful and willing to share their expertise. So the idea behind that series was get experts together, put them behind a table, give them, put a microphone on them and say, okay, talk about this, whatever it is. And they start a discussion. And next thing you know, you're getting questions from the people in the comments. So we'll ask the questions that the people are asking in the comments. And it's just a lot of fun. Anyway, a few months ago, the virus put the stop on that. It was the showstopper, literally, for that show.
Yeah.
And I was left without a monthly live stream. So I started doing something else called TSG Live Shelter in Place. So that's where I'm sitting here in my office, usually over by my workbench to my right here. And I'll just hang out with the viewers. I think I did 2 shows where it was actually kind of a show and tell. I showed my N scale collection on one show. I showed my HO scale collection on a show. Another time I did sort of video tips. You remember that one? Explaining tips and tricks for video production. Yeah. Trying to help people with their own productions. So right now the TSG
I think
Live
that was actually one of your better ones.
The video one?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So anyway, that's the live show. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing another one this weekend. So what is it? This Sunday at, let me find my sheet here. This Sunday, August 23rd at 4 p.m. Pacific, it's going to be TSG Live Shelter in Place. So it'll be me hanging out with what I call the best viewers on YouTube here in my office. And luckily, because of StreamYard, which I should thank you for this, because I didn't know about StreamYard until a few weeks ago when I sat here with you and a couple other guys just BSing on your live show.
Yeah, just trying it out.
Right, just checking it out. And I saw it and I'm like, hey, this will work for what I want, what I had in my mind that I wanted to do. So starting in September, and I can't remember the exact date. I think it's either I think it's going to be on the 20th. So September 20th, we're going to do a live crew lounge, which is the panel discussion, but we're going to do it here on StreamYard.
Awesome.
So, yeah. So it looks like Keith has. Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
So I was going to say it'd be nice to have that back, the crew lounge. That was, I think every time that you were doing that every month, the viewership was definitely going up on it. So
It was, and I think it's a good show because one of the things I really like to do is bring in as many different people as possible, because everybody has a different perspective on things, and I think that people can come up with more informed ideas about topics if they hear more people talk about them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the theory behind that. I see a question at the bottom here. Am I supposed to just take these questions when they pop up, or how do you want to do that?
I figure we'll do it as I see them because they go by so fast. So if I can get them popped up, then we'll just take a second to answer them out. So
Okay. Well, someone's asking which is easier, recorded shows or live streams, and it depends what the person means by that. Easier to control the quality. The recorded shows are easier to do that, but easier in terms of not having to edit and upload and all that. Then the live streams are definitely easier. I think that the live crew lounge shows, which were the panel discussions from the depot, were, because those are edited on the fly. You know, I've got usually at least 3 cameras, and I'm operating the computer while all those cameras are running and selecting which camera, you know, kind of like what you do there with the software that you use.
right.
And what people may not realize is that I'm also operating the cameras. So when I switch to the camera that's looking at everybody, I'm moving another camera to look at the person who's talking.
Yep.
And then I switch to that one. So it's almost like I have a whole crew there, but it's me doing all of it. So
That kind of brings me to a question I want to ask: is how did somebody get the name the secret producer?
well, our top secret associate producer is kind of camera shy.
Oh.
So she wanted to be top secret in the beginning, but she's gotten involved enough now that people know who she is. And she's now the least secret, top secret person in the world, probably.
So, did she know she actually photobombed my last one?
I don't think she knew until afterwards. I said, you know, you walked in when I was live, right? She's like, I didn't know.
I get that same thing from Amy. Later on, I'll get the whap on the shoulders, like you could tell me, you know. So
Yeah, I saw her walk in when we were talking. I don't remember what we were talking on, but I saw her walk in back there. I was like, oh, I wonder if she knows she's on.
oh, that was during the caboose one.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and she walked in. And I nicely told her, I said, no, this isn't live. It's just a bunch of people talking. You're okay.
I got to tell you a funny story if I can. I was in a video conference, and I don't remember. I think it was my local NMRA one, because they do something almost every Saturday morning. And there was a guy talking, and his wife I'm assuming it was his wife, walks in behind him and is like, you know, like this. And I didn't realize I had my microphone turned on. I just started busting up when she walked into the room, because I saw that look, and I thought, oh, she doesn't look happy. And I laughed, and then so I saw that my mic was still on. I was like, oh no, I hope they don't know what I was laughing at.
I'm starting to learn now that I'm getting into a lot more of the live streams and stuff, like from Caboose or yourself or Zooms and stuff like that. Always mute your mic right off the bat. And when you want to talk, you can either kind of put your hand up a little bit or unmute your mic so they can see it first, and then they know you're about to say something. But
right.
So we got another question in here just to kind of throw us off the game a bit. It's from Nancy.
Yeah. So, did I fall in love with trains as a kid? Do you know, I actually did fall in love with trains as a kid. I thought that I was in love with trains when I was about 7 or 8 years old. But I recently found out that it was much earlier than that because I had a photo. I scanned some photos here that were old family pictures. And I had forgotten about this, but on my second birthday, I got a round cake with a track and a little wind-up train that went around this cake. And that was the first train I got when I was 2 years old. I got another train at Christmas that same year. And so, a big battery well, I'd say it was this big. When I was a kid, it was this big. It was probably more like this, And it was some battery operated thing, and it made noise and rolled, drove around on the floor. It wasn't even on a track or anything like that.
I'm surprised you don't have those pictures ready to queue up.
I have them on this computer. I think is there a way? I can share screen on this. Let me see if I have them on this computer. I think I do.
You just used them on the weekend, so
I know, but I think I might have been on my other computer when I did that. Oh no, hold on. I made a special folder for them. So if I can find that folder on my desktop, here it is, which is very, yeah. Let me show you these. Share screen. Let me see how to do this. Hang on. This might take a second.
Might take a second for me then too.
Okay. So if I do this, share screen, I've never done this on StreamYard. So,
If I have to hit share screen too, or
I don't think so. Google Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to be able to do it this quick.
That's all right.
Sorry.
So that was actually on an interview, Caboose Hobbies on Facebook. You can
do it this way.
There, right? Yeah, there you go.
It's kind of cheesy to do it this way, but you can see that's me. And then down here's can you see that's a railroad track? See how that works?
Well, the roundabout way.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, sorry about that. If I'd known we were going to be doing screen sharing, I would have told Chrome that it was okay to share the stream earlier.
Yeah, that might be another practice run that we do on trying to share screens and stuff like that. But Humanity Junction has a question for you. How many computers do you have?
I have the one that I'm on, which is the one I do mostly my editing on, which is a 27-inch iMac. It's all souped up, though. It's a 2017 or 2018 iMac. And then I have a laptop that's also a Mac. That's a MacBook Pro. And I have a really cheesy old PC over here that I use for my Loc programmer. And I don't think I have JMRI on that one, but I use it for programming locomotives. So I have 3 computers that I kind of use. I mostly use the one that I'm on. So
Nancy's saying that picture was, that was cute.
Right?
So
yeah, I was a pretty cute kid. I don't know what happened. But
you said it, not me.
Yeah. I don't know. Did I answer Nancy's question well enough? I mean, because there's a little bit more to that story if you want to hear it.
You can keep going if you want.
Oh, so anyway, so I found out that I was into trains when I was 2. And I grew up in the country, so out near a place called Stockton, California, which if you look on a map, it's south of Sacramento. And we lived out in the country east of Stockton. Well, actually straight east of Lodi, if you know where that is. And so there were a bunch of different tracks that ran out there. At the time, they were Southern Pacific, Western Pacific, and Santa Fe. And so we would cross over, I think, 3 different main lines on our way home if we were out, in town or something. And I would always look down the track, and if there was a headlight, I would ask whoever was driving, to beg them to go back so we could watch it go by, watch the train go by. And then I remember when I was in 4th grade, I didn't tell this story on the other thing that we were doing last week, Dave, but when I was in fourth grade, the teacher must have been told by my parents that I really liked trains, because there was a little local train that was operated by something called the Stockton Terminal in Eastern that went right past the school that I was going to, and we could hear the horn because there was a grade crossing, and the teacher would let me out, little John, to go watch the train go by. So I was a little foamer in fourth grade, and I don't know, maybe my parents, our poor son is retarded. Please let him go out, because if you don't, he'll pee his pants or something. You know what I mean? But the teacher let me go out and watch that train. So I must have really liked trains, and they knew it. So what ended up happening was I kind of got away from trains after that, because I started getting into music, and then when I was a freshman in high school, I had a girlfriend, and then I was able to drive, and then I got into music even more, and I played drums professionally for 5 years here in the Bay Area. And it wasn't until 2005, when it was suggested to do a video about trains, that I got back into trains. And I'm glad that I did, because trains and model railroading, trains themselves are fascinating because of all the history that goes with it. Model railroading is fascinating because of all the different things that it offers, from planning to design to research, which lets you learn history, to, electronics, when you have to put your DCC in, to art, because weathering is art, right? So I'm glad that I got back into trains for that reason, and also because the community here where I live is really great.
Yeah, it's the one thing I like about the trains too, is like trying to recreate something from my past, and just from my memory, and then going through books and stuff like that to see how good my memory actually was, because it ain't very good now, I'll tell you that much. But
yeah, what were we talking about?
Yeah, exactly. So
which has been the most popular stream? Well, let me look and see.
Oh, you're cheating.
Because I don't know offhand. According to my computer, interesting. I didn't even know this. How to make a paint booth for less than $25 with my friend Alvin from Salt Lake City. That was that's the most viewed one.
That was a live stream too. I remember being on it.
That's right. Yeah. That was a fun live stream too, because we got to do something live, which gave us the immediate feedback. Yep. But we also got to do a how-to, which is pretty cool.
It was
right. And my buddy Alvin was on it, which made it cool. So that's good.
So back to this live stream stuff that you've been doing. What do you actually like about them and dislike about live streams?
I really like the fact that they're so interactive. That's absolutely, without any hesitation or any question, my favorite thing about live streams. I mean, I'm looking right now at all the people talking on the side of this conversation. Now, I can't read it all because we're talking, but when we do our live streams, our top secret producer goes through all that stuff and picks out questions and stuff.
Yeah, so I need to get one of those.
Yeah.
Ours is in the basement right now. Maybe we should bring them back up.
Yeah, for sure.
Questions.
Yeah. But so that's my favorite thing. Was there a second part to that question? I don't remember.
What you dislike about the live streams?
I think the thing I dislike the most is trying to get the damn stream started, because this thing that I use is kind of clunky and it's not easy to understand. And even though I've had it for a year now and I've used it 10 times, I still I can't always get it working the first time. So sometimes I'll have a stream set up with a thumbnail and everything, and it won't go to that address. So I have to start a whole new one, and then people have to figure out what's going on. I don't know, kind of a pain. So the technology is what bothers me.
Yeah, and it's constantly changing. And when you think it's just like YouTube. Every time you figure it out, they change it. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing with the different streaming programs that you can get too. Unless you actually buy a pretty good one, they are changing them all the time.
Yeah.
And like that's pretty much what happened to my mic last time. Is my computer did an update, and StreamYards tried to do an update, and they ended up knocking out all my mics, and I had to go back in and figure out which one I could actually put back on at the time.
Well, it sounds like it's working right now.
Now we've kind of figured it out because now I've got XSplit Broadcaster running into power the StreamYard, so it should work out okay. So we got a couple more questions over here that I can see if I can bring up. This one I got a bit of a chuckle at it just because I already know the answer.
Oh, I do so many videos on other people. Tell us about my layout and layout plans and my most recent modeling projects. Oh, I actually have my most recent modeling projects across the room here. So the first thing is my layout or layout plans. I don't have any layout plans for here where I live because I belong to a group called the South Bay Historical Railroad Society. And at the South Bay Historical Railroad Society, it's housed at the Santa Clara Depot in Santa Clara, California, which is about a 15 or 20-minute drive without traffic from here. They have a large N-scale layout, which allows me to run my fairly large N-scale collection, and they have a large HO scale layout, which allows me to run my HO scale collection. So I don't really need a layout here at home. Now, that being said, I do have a module all built. You know, the frame is up, the foam is in it, it has legs, it's ready to go. And so someday, when I feel like I have time and know enough to do it, I will put the, start scenicking the module. It's basically built to Freemo standards. So, and who knows? I might even turn it into a Freemo module and get together with Freemo people around here. I haven't decided yet. Now, as far as the most recent projects, I'm going to do a video about this, but lately I've been getting into weathering. So I wanted to try it because I hadn't done any weathering before. And I got some weathering powders from a friend, and I have some colored pencils already and some acrylic paints already. And so I tried my hand at weathering, and I really wish I had the screen sharing on here. Darn it. But so I've been weathering N-scale cars.
Hit share screen.
Well, right. I can't. It won't let me though because of Chrome. So that's what I've been doing is weathering. And I should mention that probably in September sometime, if not, it'll be October, but sometime soon, I'm going to do a weathering video because I have enough cars and enough duplicate cars that are the exact same car that I did it myself first so that I don't waste people's time by making a video about it without knowing what I'm going to do. And so I'm going to weather 2 of the other cars that I have. And so it'll be fun. I mean, part of what I'm trying to do with my weathering is, first off, I want to learn how the materials I'm using interact with the canvas, that being the car, right?
Yeah.
And once I figure out how that works, then I can share my observations on that. And it'll show people, because I'm not a super expert at weathering, but it'll show people that if they want to try it, they can do it too. And that's part of, this. I did the same thing with my DCC installations. I did it because I hadn't done DCC prior to that, but I wanted to show people that it's easy and you just have to do it. You just have to try it. Now,
weathering is very intimidating for a lot of people because a lot of people look at that and say, well, if I screw it up, the car's wrecked.
There's a great workaround for that.
Yeah. So one thing I was just thinking, you were saying you've got 2 of each car. You're doing one first and then doing a video on the second.
Mm-hmm.
So to get the intimidation part out of it, if you show part of what you did on the first one, even if you messed it up, because that's what people are scared of. So if you're messing it up, this guy's messing it up. Because a lot of people on weathering, they don't show the cars that they're messing up. So myself, I've tried it, and it looked like crap. So I put down the brush and said, I can't do it, so I'm not going to do it again. Other people, because all I see is perfection on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if you show a video of not so perfect, and it's not your face.
No, I hear you, and you're right. But you know what the other workaround is? You know, when you go to train shows and they have tables and tables and tables and tables of people selling stuff that's basically junk.
Yep.
Buy the cheap junk, but make sure it's not weathered already. Buy that cheap junk, practice on the cheap junk, and then do your good models. Because once you know what you're doing on the cheap junk, like I've only done a few, but I would be more than comfortable to break out one of my $50 pieces of rolling stock and do something to it, because it's really not that hard, you know?
No.
So that's what I think. Practice on the cheap stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So Sean McGee wants to know, what is your favorite aspect of railroading? Rail fanning, reviews, or other?
Oh, interesting. Well, people who watch my channel would laugh if I just said other, because that's an ongoing joke, right?
That's always an option on some of your...
Yeah. So I kind of look at rail fanning and model railroading as two pretty different, distinct things. And as a matter of fact, most of the people I know who are modelers don't do a lot of foaming. And most of the people I know who are foamers don't do a lot of model railroading. So I would say that my favorite part of both of those aspects of the hobby, because I think all of it encapsulates what I call the hobby as a term. I think my favorite part about all of it is the people. And for example, you know, we have a series on my channel called Chasing Trains, right?
My favorite series.
Right? Your favorite. And so to me, Chasing Trains is kind of like going fishing with your friends, where you go out and it doesn't matter if you catch anything. The point was to hang out with your friends.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am with that, you know. And as long as you have, you know, friends that actually want to be there, that helps.
Yeah, it does.
That helps a lot.
Yeah, because you get the ones that just want to look at trains all day, and they're the ones sitting there doing this.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been times when I've gone out rail fanning and there aren't any trains, and a few of us are laughing and having a great time, and somebody else is being Mr. Grumpy Pants. Well, you know, what good is that? That's just a downer.
Yeah,
No one needs that kind of negativity around.
Yeah, you just need someone to bring a unicycle, and you'd be all set.
Right? Riding the unicycle while you're waiting for the trains.
Oh boy, you do have some good guests on your Chasing Trains, that's for sure. So,
well, I know you're thinking of when you were on it, right?
yeah, I'm just privileged that I was a two-parter. So,
was it a hard choice to choose between being a superstar drummer or a model railroad YouTube star? Where are these questions coming from?
This just all this does to me is YouTube famous, baby. Because she said that to me a few times. Says, "Oh, you're YouTube famous." Doesn't mean that, but
yeah, I think the decision was made for me because I didn't get to be famous playing drums. So, and you know, the whole YouTube thing, in a way, has happened by accident. I mean, for people that have watched my channel for a long time, I wasn't really on the channel a whole lot for a while, but I kind of got forced to be on the channel a whole lot a couple of years ago. So as far as that goes, I mean, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. And I don't think of it as, I don't expect people to know who I am. So
maybe a couple in here don't know who you are, maybe from the UK or something. So
yeah, well, I never expect anybody to know, you know, like imagine going on something. It's like, oh, don't you know who I am? What do you mean there's no tables? Don't you know I'm famous?
Yeah. Only on YouTube.
Oh, this is good. Talking about new modelers and young modelers that don't have a lot of money,
Now,
more involved.
The reason why I'm showing this one up is because you have done one of your live streams, the community chat. I forget the name of it now. Duh. The one you did.
Oh, the crew lounge.
Yeah, the crew lounge. And you guys actually did talk about getting younger people into the hobby.
Yeah,
Talked
we did.
about the money of it and how expensive or inexpensive it can be for people. So
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things I can say about that. One, train shows are good if you want cheap stuff, because there's always cheap stuff at train shows, or eBay. But the thing is, though, if you want to do it that way, you have to be able to or willing to work on the models. Because you can go to a train show and buy a used locomotive for, I don't know, $10, $15, whatever. And the guy at the train show will swear to you that it works, but you get home and it doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? So if you're willing to work on these things, most of the time you can make them work. So that's one way to stay on a budget, right?
mhm.
There are also less expensive models that you can then do your own, detailing on. So, there's a couple things that you can do with that. As far as just as young people in the hobby, I think the best thing that we can do to make young people interested and stay in the hobby is to be nice to them and to be welcoming to them. Because, I think every club and every organization that's sort of open to the public has the one grumpy guy that doesn't want the kids near, don't let that goddamn kid touch my trains, You know that guy, right? I think he's at all of our organizations. So the simple, I guess, advice is just don't be that guy.
Yeah. I noticed with the club that you are part of down there, the HO Scale Club and the N Scale Club, the night I was actually there checking it out, you had 3 to 5 actual teenagers to kids in there running trains, and the adults were just doing some of the modeling, or they were in the other room. One was in the library. So I found that club that you were part of to be very open in that aspect. They're not, as you're saying, don't touch my trains and stuff like that, but they also weren't out there hovering over them, making sure they were doing it A, prototypical, B, running the speed, not crashing them, looking after things. And I seen it the other way from the kids too. They respected the hobby, the materials, and the layout itself. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of, I guess it's being patient with people, because, let's face it, nobody comes into a hobby or into something knowing everything and being able to do everything. I'm an adult. Well, I don't act like one, but I'm age-wise, I'm an adult, and I think that I don't know all the ins and outs of turning on the layouts and where all the switches are to get out onto the main line from the staging area and all that. So I will ask a kid to help me. As a matter of fact, there was a video about 2.5 years ago, and I had to go to one of the kids that I know at the SBHRS and say, look, his name is Patrick. I'm like, look, Patrick, can you help us get out onto the main line and maybe, make sure no one comes up and runs into the train because we're going to be doing some videoing. And Patrick, who I think at the time was 15 maybe, was super helpful, super nice. He knew more about it than I did, and he helped. So, and I think that a lot of kids, if you give them the trust that it takes to, and you have to show them and supervise them for a while, but once you realize that they get it, they're good to go. A lot of kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Have I gone to any train shows? Oh yeah, I've been to plenty of train shows. One that I really like to go to is the Bay Area Prototype Modelers Meet. That's held here every June, except this year because of the virus. I went to the NMRA National convention and train show last year. That was in Salt Lake City. That was a really great time. There's a video about that if you search on my channel or just search on YouTube for NMRA National 2019, you'll find it.
Cool.
So, yeah, so I've been to plenty of train shows. I don't usually travel too far to go to them, but I've been to them. Also, the Great Train Show that comes around every couple of months here, or a few months somewhere to the area. That's another good one to go to.
Heath asked a question, but I can't find it now. Now I can't remember what it was either because I've been trying so hard to find it.
Oh, well, I'm looking in the chat and I don't see any questions right now.
I think it was quite a ways back, and then all of a sudden I hit something, and the whole chat went to the end of the chat.
Oh,
it's gone.
Oh. Is he still on?
Yeah, he's still in here somewhere. So if you want to ask again,
that's Human City, right? So ask him.
Humanity
question, Human City.
Yeah, Human City.
So what's the damn question, man?
Yeah, maybe we'll get to that in a second here. Yeah. But another question I got just off the top of your head. Don't be looking in your computer or nothing. But best or worst live stream for you that you can remember? One that you've done that just really stuck out and you thought, oh, this was the best ever. And then one that you've done and you turn around and went, oh, man, I never want to do another live stream again.
Well, I've never had one that I didn't want to do again. But I will say that the worst one that I think I did was at Alvin's house in Salt Lake City last year. We did something live. I don't remember what it was, but we did it on my phone. And it did not upload at high resolution. It's not even on the channel anymore because it was so bad. So the quality was really poor. And the worst thing about it was the audio. That's why I took it down, because if I watch something and I'm like, I can't hear anything, I won't keep it. It's not good enough. So that's probably the worst one. Again, I don't remember what we were. I think it was like some kind of little show and tell thing where Alvin was showing some of his models.
Yeah, I think you guys just got back from the train show or something, didn't you?
Probably, yeah. And he had like some brick building and some other locomotive maintenance shop or something. I don't really remember what the buildings were.
Yeah, it was on his kitchen table.
Yeah, and other than the fact that the audio was so bad, it was a good video. I mean, he was showing cool stuff and we had fun, but I just couldn't hear anything. And I think what had happened that time was the phone, there's a front-facing microphone and a rear-facing microphone, I think. And somehow the front-facing camera was on, but the rear-facing microphone was on, so you could not hear us talking. So that was probably the worst one. The best one was one of the live crew lounge shows that we did. I think it was in November of last year, if I remember right. Might have been December. I think it was November. And it was, the reason I liked it so much was that the guys that were on that particular show, and I think it was a show about, it was kit building versus scratch building or something like that. If you look on my channel, you can find that. Look for TSG Live Crew Lounge Scratch Building. That should get you to it. And I thought that one was really great because all of the guys on that panel were legit experts. I mean, they were as good of modelers as you get around here. And the level of insight that they provided, but also because the reason I liked that one was because it sounded good and it looked really good. Something about the way it was set up just really worked for me. And if I remember right, it might have also been the first one where I had, if you remember, Dave, there was a shot where there was a camera behind me that saw the whole room, and you could see us also. And I kind of liked that look. I think a close second would be the TSG Live Crew Lounge that we did from the California State Railroad Museum last January. It was part of the layout design and operation SIG meet for our local area. That was a cool one too, because we got to come live from a very well-known place, the museum.
Okay, well, you didn't say the live stream with me at the tower, so I'm just going to delete this whole video when we're done now. So
That one was pretty good too, actually. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, we had a lot of, that was probably the most fun one, right? Because we were having all kinds of fun, just laughing the whole time.
yeah,
Right, and we get to show the trains going by, which was pretty cool.
yeah, you taught me a couple tricks on that one. So
yeah, so and you made me.
I get you to wear a wig.
That's what I was going to say. You made me wear a wig, so how could it not be fun?
Exactly. Okay, I had found another question here. There we go.
I'm not sure how to answer that. What kind of? Well, right. I mean, like model railroad company, or
well, let's start with the real.
I don't really have a favorite. Yeah, I don't really have one. I like them all. I like everything. Although if I knew that my friend Kevin was watching, I'd say it was the St. Paul and Pacific, because that's the one that he runs down in Watsonville over here.
Yeah. Well,
I don't really
have down a little bit. Steam or diesel?
I like them both. I mean, when it comes to models, though, I don't have any steam models, so I must like diesels better, right?
Well, diesels are easier models to kind of maintain and run.
They're definitely easier to work on, yeah.
Yeah, and even running them as a model train type thing, even an HO scale, drive rods can get bent, they can get stuck. Run out of smoke fluid, you just screwed your whole locomotive. So, but diesels are starting to come out with some smoke units now too. So,
yeah,
but I'm kind of on.
Uh-oh. It looks like I'm the only one on the show suddenly. Can you guys still see me and hear me? It looks like...
Haha!
Dude, what happened?
Fat finger.
Wow.
No, I went to move my mouse and click the right button instead of the left button. And the whole screen just went full, and I'm like, uh-oh.
I thought you got so excited because I said that I liked the stream we did together, so you got a little too excited and it just...
No, not quite. Now, Humanity Junction did do his first live stream last night. Turned out really good. I think he ended up with over 70 people in the chat.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he did really good, I think. So, any advice for somebody that's just starting out on live streams? Now, the one thing I did kind of tell him afterwards was never compare your live streams. Your first one to your second one to your third one. None of them are ever going to be the same. You can't say, oh, I got to get better than my first one. And then all of a sudden you find out you have 50 next week and then go, oh, now I don't really think I'm as good. So each live stream is a different stream all on its own. Don't compare it with anything because each one of them is going to be different every time, no matter what. So,
yeah. If I had advice, well, my advice is the same for any kind of production. Just make sure it looks good and make sure it sounds good. If you got those two things covered, then just have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, if I do a live stream and only 10 people watch, I'll still have fun.
Yeah.
So
in my case, if the audio doesn't work, I just bring somebody else up to take my place and I just keep mouthing it like I'm trying to talk.
Yeah. Make sure you have your friend there to help you when your audio screws up. That's another good piece of advice.
You saved my butt. So,
well, so yeah, dude. Though I think that production does matter. That's why I'm always trying to help if there's an issue with your audio or something like that. I think it's worth it because, especially for someone like me who does this as a full-time thing, it's really, really difficult to watch. I mean, if I'm watching something and something about it is bothering me, I'll just turn it off because I've got other things that I can do that will make me feel better than trying to watch something that I can't hear or trying to watch something that I can't see.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
and I keep trying to get these things a little bit better, but like I said, XSplit to me still is the best broadcaster that I've got. And even when we first started talking tonight, once I tuned into my XSplit, all my problems kind of went away too. So it kind of what you're producing with also does make a difference. So if you're just a first timer, the free stuff's pretty good. So
You know, I didn't even know that Human City had done his own show. I didn't even know. How was I? How did you know about that?
I think everybody all during the week has said tune into Heath. So
Yeah, that's too bad because if I had known, I would have been on it to see what he was doing.
well, next time I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch it, I guess.
Yeah. So on Mondays we got Just Nate with Tygon the Valley. That's at 7:00, and then at 8:00 we got Tom's Trains and Things, and then on Tuesday we got On Track Tuesday, and that's 4 different guys that do that. That's Wilmer, Benny, Dave, Heath filled in, and Redbird Tony. Then Wednesday we got some guy that wears wigs every once in a while, just not tonight.
Oh, the goofy hoser.
Yeah, that hoser guy, eh?
Yep.
Thursday we got Hot Rod Rodney. No, yeah, Hot Rod Rodney's on Thursday nights. Redbird Tony's on Tuesday. Friday we got our cousin Vinny, DNSF 6951. And Saturday we got Back on Track, and that's at 10:00 in the morning Eastern. So
it's so hard to keep up with all that. I don't know how you remember all that.
Well, I think the newest channel basically has still been doing it for about a year. So
Yeah.
every day of the week except Sunday's been filled, and I kind of looked at that and I thought, you know what, Sunday does have a few live streams here. They're hit and miss type thing. So now Sunday,
right?
Hey,
Like mine.
yeah. Well, we got to get yours back on there. But
Well, it's been on. It's just been different, is all.
yeah, true. But when you're not doing it, I've been doing one at like 5:00 in the afternoon. I just turn on my GoPro and I let it go. And basically, it's just a hangout for an hour or 2 hours or whatever it is. People can come and chat because I really can't see the chat when I'm running the train very much. So see how that kind of goes for the next couple of weeks. But whenever you're on, of course, I won't do it. So because I'm tuned into yours. So
right. So because you're always a moderator on mine.
yeah.
Which thank you, by the way.
No problem.
So I guess that means we'll see you this Sunday, huh?
Yeah, of course.
Live shelter in place. I'm not sure yet what we'll talk about. I'm thinking of making it mostly just a hangout like we did last time.
Cool. So another thing I do want to bring up before we go, it's 8:03. We don't have to go an hour. We're going to go a little bit longer here. But you mentioned YouTube, making money, full-time job, everything else. So are live streams helping you out with that?
Well, every video you put up helps. One thing that's cool about the live streams is that people also will put in a super chat or a sticker or whatever. So that does help.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. But it feels like it's taking a really long time because even as big as my channel is, I still had to start a Patreon page. And that's helping a lot. The channel's helping a lot. I'm getting irritated though with all the ads that Google puts on my stuff.
They're getting bad.
They're getting really annoying. I mean, plus it's a election year, so there's a lot of political junk being put on the ads.
Oh, it's great to be Canadian. I don't have to see any of those.
Right? Yeah. So I don't like it, and I would like to really turn off all my ads if I could.
Yeah.
I can't yet, but maybe someday if I get enough supporters on Patreon, I'll be able to.
Well, and hopefully somebody can throw up your link to Patreon. But if not, guys, you just head over to TSG Multimedia, check out his page, subscribe to him, watch some of his videos. And his Patreon link is on his homepage, so click on it, check it out. Now, the reason why I do want to talk to you a little bit about Patreon before we go, I use Patreon for my channel for contests. Yep. I always show everybody what I've got just by doing this scene right here. Right? Oh, not that one. Now it's not going to show up. There we go. And I always scroll down to this. It shows everybody I've got 20 Patreons at 185.
Yep.
I don't hide that. My money that I get from Patreon completely goes back into this show, my Wednesday Night Live chat. And we do contests and stuff like that with it. Everybody knows that. But with your Patreon, I notice I don't do videos and stuff for mine. Thank you very much, ContainerMan68.
Yep, Roy put out, man.
Yeah, wig. Yeah, eating it already. So I just want to kind of say, like, with mine, it's for a contest. That's it.
Yep.
and prizes and stuff like that. I don't do a lot of extra content. Every once in a while, I'll put a picture or something out on it. But you take Patreon to the next level. Now, this is meeting a live streamer. You do live streams with your Patreons.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we should tell people that, just so people know. Sparky here is a patron on Patreon of mine. And thank you for that, sir, for quite some time now. So, actually, I could interview you about that. Like, what are your favorite parts of being a member of the TSG train crew? That's what I call my patrons.
So you're really asking that?
I'm asking that. I am asking that. I want to know from you so that the people watching know that it is more than just giving some guy $2 a month, right? Because I've got special content that's being put up there ad free.
Yes, and
So,
I don't do the Patreon because of your special content, although it is a bonus. I more do it because I know what kind of videos you put out. Because I spent a week with you, I know what it takes to do those videos, how much you have to travel to do it. And you're a history buff to me. You really help preserve history by showing the video of it or the locations of it. You talk behind the scenes with Ed Dickens. You just get right in there to the nuts and all the great information, and I love it, and I like to support stuff like that.
right?
History to me with the railroads is really big. We've got so many fallen flags out there, and I'd really prefer that we didn't get any more. And the ones that have fallen, if there is some place to preserve some of those, like Southern Pacific, then I'd like to support the channels that are supporting them. So,
Okay, cool. So you really support the channel more because of the work and not so much because of the perks, right?
right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was just curious what you thought about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think you were in the process of asking a question.
Well, we can go on the perks, like you were saying. And like I said, this is Meet the Live Streamer. So with your Patreon, you do a live stream. How do you go about doing that with Patreons?
Well, it's not so much a live stream as much as it is what I call a hangout, a virtual hangout. So we use the Zoom platform, and we've also used Skype because you can run a meeting with Skype as well, where I will ask someone I know who's an expert. Like for example, my friend Jack Burgess, who's a very well-known modeler, who's written, hundreds of articles for various magazines and has a very, very well-known HO scale layout called the Yosemite Valley in August of 1939. And I asked him if he would be a special guest on the virtual hangout, and he agreed to. So people got to hang out there and talk to him. He's also on the train crew. So he's been a Patreon supporter since it got started almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And has become actually a good friend. I think Jack is a good friend. So I should mention this. I've asked, I don't know how many people here know her, but Michelle Kempema from the Colorado Model Railroad Museum also is part of the train crew. I don't know if you knew that, Dave, but she's a train crew member also. And she's going to be our special guest next month on the virtual hangout.
I can't wait for that one.
So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it because something you might not know, Michelle is actually, when she shows up on shows on YouTube and stuff, she has a kind of I want to call it kind of a nervous tick. And it is her. I mean, this is what she does when you're with her too, where she'll say what she's saying and then she kind of laughs, like that's the period at the end of the sentence. She giggles or laughs. And I think that might lead people to the wrong impression of her being, ditzy or something, because she really is not.
She's far from that, for sure.
Yeah. So I got to hang out with her for a few days last year in October when we were in Colorado. And she took us around. She is not only a very knowledgeable person, but she's also a very serious and professional person, and she's very, very well connected. Like anybody who's in the travel or tourism industry in Colorado, she knows all of them. And I would imagine she probably knows a lot of those same people in other states as well. And so my idea was to have her on the virtual hangout and have her talk about all that stuff that she's involved with. I mean, she also volunteers. I don't know if you knew this, but she was a car host or a conductor on some UP Heritage run where they ran those big yellow passenger coaches behind. I think it might have even been behind a steam excursion.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And she was one of the car hosts or conductors on that. That was a totally volunteer thing.
Wow, cool.
How many people do you know who do that? So anyway, so the idea is to have her on and talk about all that the more serious side of Michelle. So, yeah, because I was really, really impressed with her.
Now, she's part of what Model Railroad Club?
She is the museum director at the Colorado Model Railroad Museum in Greeley, Colorado.
Now, have you been there?
Oh, yeah.
How big's that?
Yeah. It's a pretty big layout. I don't know the exact dimensions. I have it written down around here because when I was there, I filmed for a layout tour, which isn't out yet, obviously, but it will come out eventually. Anyway, it's probably the second biggest layout that I've seen in my travels. The first biggest layout being the one in San Diego, the La Mesa Model Railroad Club. That's the one that has Tehachapi Loop. It's an HO scale layout. Yeah, that one is the single biggest layout. It might be the biggest layout around. I don't know, but it's huge.
So these are bigger.
Looks like, sorry, the one in San Diego is bigger than Colorado.
Yeah.
The one in Colorado, though, is still very big. I mean, it's inside basically a warehouse. And,
wow.
she says the square footage all the time. I think someone in the chat was talking about it. Looks like Rob is saying it's 4,000 square feet. That sounds right, actually, because it's got to be a good 200 feet long and a good. I don't know. It's big though. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's a big layout. It's a fully scenic layout, and one of the coolest things about it, although I don't really think they emphasize this enough, at least in my opinion, is that it shows that it shows the process, like what do trains do? Trains take your raw materials, which in the case of the Colorado Model Railroad Museum would be lumber, takes it to another place to be finished, and then takes the finished product to the final destination. Okay. And in their case, it would be a port because they have a port scene with these big scale ships. They're not HO scale. They would be much bigger if they were HO scale. But so I think it's a great layout. I can tell you that. And they do a lot of really cool stuff there.
So if we want to take part into that, and Amy's about to walk in, isn't she?
I saw her walking by outside.
Yeah, over there.
Yeah, she was checking out if you were live. She's probably going to come out and give you something.
Aye. I don't know why she wouldn't just be on our computer and find out that I was live. But now, so just to wrap this up, John, you like doing live streams, obviously. You're going to keep doing them.
Yep. Definitely.
Cool. Now, for us to meet Michelle on your next live stream, hangout, whatever you're going to call it, how would people go about doing that exactly?
Oh, you just have to sign up for Patreon. It's patreon.com/TSGmultimedia, where TSG Multimedia is all one word.
Oh, not my Patreon then?
See, no, whatever. If they want to sign up with yours, that's good too. They won't get to see Michelle, but I mean, that's the thing is. Yeah, the thing is here, though, and I've talked to Michelle about this already, and she's agreed to do it, is that I'm 99.99% certain that I'm going to not only record that session, but I will release it as a video on my channel sometime in the near future. The benefit to being a patron and going to this hangout is that you can ask her your own question live. It won't be a recorded thing. Does that make sense? So, that's one of the benefits to people that sign up. And, and again, that's just one of the people that I will have on. I've had an author on other than Jack Burgess. Remember the guy that wrote the book about the Transcon?
Yep.
So actually that video just came out recently. I published that one because I wanted to help him with his book, you know.
I know. I was looking through the video and watching it and stuff, and I noticed I wasn't on it.
You didn't go to that one?
Yeah, I did actually.
Oh, why weren't you on it?
I don't know. My picture never showed up.
Oh, well, yeah, you get to see whoever's, I mean, because we had like 12 or 20 or something people in that,
Yeah,
and there's only so many little boxes, you know?
Yeah.
So
that was a good one. So, yeah, I don't know if Ralph Greenwood can throw your Patreon link up there, but at least if they throw your channel up there one more time, there it is right there, TSG Multimedia.
I think Ralph Greenwood did. Yeah, that is the Patreon page.
Oh, there you go. So check it up, sign up. It's just for a cup of coffee, as you like to say. So
yeah, I mean, it's as little as $2 a month, you know.
And that gets you some great backdoor access to some of these hangouts and stuff. And I will say I have taken part in, I think, 3 of them now. And it's really cool to hang out. Jack Burgess was another one.
Yep.
That I took part of.
I remember that you were on that one too.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got an email that someone just signed up as a $2 patron. I wonder if that's someone from this stream.
Well, I hope so.
Train freak. Is that someone who's here on our stream?
Yeah, that's somebody that's usually hanging out in mine. So
is it?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you. Every time someone signs up, I send them a little message also, you know, thanks for signing up. So whoever that was, you'll get that email from me sometime pretty soon here. So
we'll leave that with tonight. Like I said, guys, I have taken part in some of those chats that he has for his Patreons and stuff. Great time, great behind the scenes. And it's really cool. If you've got questions, you can put it in the chat that's there, and John will read it at some point. Or you can unmute your mic and kind of say, excuse me. And it's not very formal, but how do you say, it's a very polite group that people go in. It's not everybody talking over everybody else and things like that. So it's a really good time. So like he says, $2, $5 a month, whatever, and you get access to stuff like that. John really goes over and above when it comes to his Patreon page. So,
you know, Dave, I try to make it special for people because, you know, I always say that I have the best viewers on YouTube. I think we have a lot of the same viewers. So I think you also have a lot of the best viewers on YouTube. But the people I think that do the support on Patreon are the people that really get what I'm trying to do. And that means a lot to me, you know, because I don't know, I feel, I mean, a lot of them are my friends already too. So, you know, and then by being present in the virtual hangouts and stuff, and we get to know each other. And, you know, I mean, if somebody comes out to the area and if I know that they're here, I will take time to go and take them places to see some of the stuff that they've seen on the channel, like what we did, you know? I mean, I would have done that anyway, because we already knew each other, whether it was Patreon or not. But
true.
The point is, you know, I will go the extra mile for the patrons because they're the ones that are helping the most when it comes to, you know, making the projects possible.
True. That is one question I do like to ask people is, did you ever think YouTube would create real friends and friendships?
You know, I never really thought about it much, but anytime when you get people together, it happens. Uh-huh. So it seems like a natural, you know, consequence or a natural result of us hanging out socially, you know, what's the word for it online?
Just socially,
virtually.
Yeah, true. Here, I'm gonna scare the crap out of somebody. You ready?
Yeah. Oh, there he is.
All right, guys. So that's pretty much the basically meet the live stream. This will be just maybe a 5-10 minutes of very informal conversation. Anybody has any other questions, you can throw them up there. Now 3 of us will be watching for questions. So, but John, thanks for coming on, bud. That was really cool of you and taking the time. Like I said, helping me out last weekend was awesome, and taking the time to do it this week. I know you're a busy guy, so.
Well, I would like to thank you for the invitation, and thank you also for all your support over the years. Greatly appreciated. And that goes for the scary guy in the bottom too.
So just in case you guys don't know, Vinny's been sitting in my basement for this whole show, just in case something happened with my mic, the camera, anything. Almost had to get him up here when I clicked the wrong button, but he's been a good support watching too. So
he had me stuffed away in the basement for an hour and 17 minutes. Imagine that.
So
I just spilled my drink on myself because I was laughing.
Only on live streams.
You guys did a great job tonight. Good job, man. Both of you.
Oh, I thought you did a great job hanging out in the basement. I didn't hear anything. Somebody was asking. Someone asked in the questions about how I like my coffee. Who was that? I saw that somewhere. The train freak said, "Ask me." Yeah. So I want to tell you something.
You're gonna let the cat out of the bag, aren't you?
I'm gonna let this cat out of the bag because I told people on my channel.
Yeah, true.
So the coffee joke goes back about 5 years or something like that, where it was the very first episode of Chasing Trains, which is a series on my channel. And I was really angry because we stayed at a Motel 6 and they had a comment or a sign in the office that said coffee's on at 6 a.m. or something like that. And I woke up early to go get my coffee because at the time I was drinking a lot of coffee and they didn't have it. So I was very angry and I ranted on the video about how you don't promise me something and don't have it because no one was in the office when I went to get my damn coffee, right? So that turned into this whole thing about me being a coffee addict. So when I set up the Patreon thing, I set it up in the context of coffee. At $2 is a cup of coffee, $5 is a carafe, $10 is something else. I don't remember, or maybe $10 is a carafe, whatever.
That crap.
Well, I stopped drinking coffee this year. So what happened was, I guess if you drink coffee long enough, it affects your stomach. And I would get heartburn all the time. I mean, I have Tums, right? You know, the antacid that I'd pop. You probably remember, Dave, I was popping Tums the whole time you were here because I always had heartburn. I stopped drinking coffee, and within a week, I wasn't getting heartburn all the time anymore.
Oh, that's good.
So, yeah.
I'm down to 2 cups a day. It's when I first wake up, I'll have one when I first wake up, and then I'll get to work and then finish my second cup of coffee. So
Right.
But after that, guys will go to stores or whatever, get coffee or whatever. I won't have one. So
how come you drank a whole pot of coffee when you're at my house?
That wasn't me. That was John Dilly.
Oh,
people off the wall, man.
It's too bad John Dilly don't drink coffee.
He just did that week.
Yeah,
yeah, really.
He was trying to impress Dave, so he was drinking the coffee with him.
We'll leave that one alone. So there's another one for you.
What's my favorite YouTuber?
You gotta say Barnabas Junction because he asked.
Oh, that's Barnabas Junction.
Yay, mine too. Speaking of Barnabas Junction, he's going to be the next week's guest for me. So,
oh, really? Cool.
He's all the way from the UK, so hopefully you guys can understand his accent and he can understand mine.
Well, it's the Canadian accent that always gets me.
Eh?
Right. It's very hard to understand.
I know, eh?
Yeah. Oh, Vinny has a question.
Can I announce who I'm going to have on my show Friday?
Okay, ready?
Oh, what a dick.
Yes, you can, Vinny.
Can I say something before you do, Vinny? This is
Go ahead.
You, sir, are so polite. Not only did you ask the question, but you waited until he said you could, even after he muted you. You're still being nice to this guy.
All right, guys. Well, you know my live stream on Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. This week's guest is going to be Dave Thurba from Crooked River and Eastern Railroad. So be sure to tune in and let's see what Dave's got to say about live streaming.
Wow. I wish I had more time to watch all the people that are on YouTube, because I probably would have a serious favorite YouTuber. But the fact of the matter is, I don't have a lot of time to watch stuff. I really don't. I mean, just that week when you were here, Dave, I got so far behind in all the projects that I wanted to do, but we had so much fun. It was worth it.
Yeah. It was a great time when I was out there for sure. So, and that's the problem I'm having with this showstopper is like 2021. I've already made promises to people. Like I told you, I was coming back out to California, and Barnabas Junction. I want to get back over to the UK in 2021. Matt Slade for his birthday over there, and their YouTube meet and greet. Strasbourg, I hope, happens in May. October is Vinny's month. Like I go down and see him all the time. So there's 4 places right off the bat that I got to hopefully try to get to next week. And then when I told my boss that this week, he's like, "Are you coming to work next year?" Like,
right? Yeah. I mean, even now, I can't. There's an event that's supposed to happen in October, and I can't make plans for it because I don't think it's going to happen. And I already had to cancel my hotel reservations once for that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make a hotel reservation and then have to cancel it again. I mean, that's not cool.
Well, nobody can really make plans. I don't know. Like I said, hopefully Strasbourg goes for May 2021. Like people don't understand it's my family vacation that I'm doing this with, and I do the YouTube meet and greet. And people are always saying, "Oh, can we do one here? Can we do one there?" And you got to understand, I haven't been to Strasbourg yet, so I'm still going. But,
Me too.
yeah. But in meeting Michelle on your meet and greet thing that you're going to have from your Patreon things, I'd love to chew her off because I'd love to get to the UP Steam attraction and meet her myself and stuff. So, and actually have a YouTube meet and greet there. That would be cool, I think. So,
I bet she'd be keen on an idea like that because it would get a lot of people to see their museum as well.
Yeah, well, I did invite her to Strasbourg also, and I think she said she was going to be in New York that weekend. So,
it's funny because I did too. I told her what that was happening.
Yeah.
And I think she was in Boston actually, but same thing, back east somewheres.
Yeah, but she did consider it, so I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing, and I think that the thing is she's very busy.
I didn't see that.
But she does stuff. She does stuff like that all the time that we just don't know about because she doesn't really talk about it.
Okay.
But the whole thing for me is we also have our national convention, the NMRA convention, happening here next year in July, and to be honest, I don't know for sure that that's going to happen. But when you have an event like that other people are involved with, you have to assume, like what you did, Dave, you assumed it was going to happen. So you made all the plans and you kept the plans until what was it, a month or so before?
Yeah, down to the last month. I think it was exactly 30 days before we had to go that I had to cancel it. So,
yeah. So, I mean, what can you do? You have to plan like it's going to happen because if the showstopper gets stopped and you can do it and you didn't plan, now you're really behind the 8 ball.
Well, then you're rushing and everything else too. So
yeah, right. It'll be the worst event ever because no one did any of the work to make it good.
And yes, Stephen Hiller's, the border is still closed.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. But that was the other part of Strasbourg, and I canceled it so late. I knew the border was closed. I was pretty sure it was still going to be closed when Strasbourg came around. But I didn't want to cancel it because there's a lot of people in the Pennsylvania area. So if it was open, they could have still went. So,
I was really looking forward to going too because I had plans with my friend Gary that you met out here.
Yep. And
we were going to hook up with Jerry. He lives in Pennsylvania and he was going to show us some cool stuff, places,
Yeah, I hooked you up with Jerry Satterelli.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it was not to be, unfortunately.
Yeah. Vinny was coming. He was going to have a contest when he was there.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to try to figure some way to watch your show, Vinny, because you're always helping being the moderator on mine. It's just, like like I missed another meeting that I'm always at this meeting. That's the one that we were on last week when we did our interview with the top secret expert here.
Yeah.
And I missed that one because I was on here today. So they're probably wondering why I wasn't supportive today.
Well, you should have told them all to come over here first.
Right? Yeah. Get them to come over here. Exactly.
Yeah. So, but in saying that, I'll probably let you guys go so I can get in the house and say goodnight to the young lady.
Oh, maybe that's what she was doing. She's going to bed, so she wants you.
Yeah, just coming out to say goodnight.
Okay.
So,
well, tell her goodnight.
Okay, I will. But
good night.
Thanks for everybody stopping by. The question you guys asked, very supportive. Thanks for the super chats. There's Caitlin, the youngin. Or maybe Caitlin's home. Aha. Amy's daughter. Sorry, that would be Amy's daughter right here.
Oh.
Okay, so say goodbye, guys.
Bye. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and thanks for the new Patreon.
See you later, guys.
Bye, Vinny.
Bye. Take care, John. Bye, Sparky.
Good night, John Boy.
Oh, man.